What's up, lords and ladies? Welcome back to another video on this channel. So in today's video, as you can see, I am inside of my new reptile room. Now today it is feeding day for my ball pythons, and I figured this is a great opportunity to cover a topic that a lot of you guys have been asking about, and that is, what size should I feed my ball pythons? Now, I have my hatchling ball pythons in this ARS rack, so I do feed a little bit different than most would. Some of these ball pythons that I have here do feed on live, but my whole entire thing, not that I have anything against feeding live, it's just a lot more easier for me to keep frozen, especially now during this whole entire pandemic. I noticed that some rodents are a little bit harder to come by, but at the same time I do also have some that feed on live. So even though I prefer feeding on frozen, I don't mind also feeding on live, whichever works for the snake best. So in today's video, I am going to be doing somewhat of a live feeding. Unfortunately, I can't show the animals actually eating the rat on YouTube, but you know, I could demonstrate and show you guys how big of a rat I actually feed. So something like this is a couple of weeks old, a couple months old, I should actually say. Nice weight. This happens to be a passed out leopard yellow belly clown female. Now this girl right here, as you can see, she is nice and big. Now the best way to feed a ball python, especially of this size, is to go based off of the thickest part of its body. So a lot of times people may look at a ball python and be like, I need to get a rat the size of its head, and that is incorrect. So if you look at this ball python, the head is fairly small, but these guys have a jaw that basically allows them to open up a lot more, and as well as take bigger prey. So you really want to get a ball python you know, that's a decent size, as well as that eats and it's all healthy. But you could feed this ball python something about this big. So if we go about there, something about that thick, maybe about this big would do it. So I'm going to show you guys now the live rodent that I would feed this baby ball python. Okay, so these guys honestly are probably the cutest things out there, and like I said, I love all animals, but sometimes you do have to feed your snakes, and sometimes they are you know, alive. So if you are gonna get a ball python, you definitely need to make sure that you are aware that these guys can eat live you know, rodents. So these are just some sizes to go based on. You know, each rat breeder, they do their sizes a little bit different. But let's say a ball python of this size right here. As you can see, the girth, you know, this rodent right here might be a little bit too big, but believe it or not, that snake could probably take it, because you have to remember these guys have fur. But personally, before I start feeding this something bigger, I would actually go about my way to feed it a couple of smaller meals just to get it up to size. So something like this would be almost a perfect size. And like I said, these guys are so cute, and I don't like feeding live personally, but you know, it's a circle of life, and you know, this ball python would take something like that. A lot of people do sometimes go ahead and feed pinkies, but if you notice, pinkies are a little bit way too small. So I just wanted to demonstrate, you know, when it comes to feeding ball pythons, and anyone out there who's looking into getting, even though you know, a lot of keepers out there prefer feeding live for whatever reasons. It could be, you know, their own moral reasons, or they just, you know, it's harder for them to get live food. Personally, what I've found is that, you know, you have to listen to the snake. These guys, you know, it's the circle of life. They can't eat carrots, they can't eat vegetables, so you have to give them what they want. Sometimes they don't even like eating this kind of rodent. So I'm about to show you a different kind of rodent that you could feed your ball python that may work. Okay, so up on the screen, as you could see, I thought I actually purchased them, but I looked at the box and the order, and I actually didn't get some this time around. But basically what we have here is something called an ASF. Now this is a different type of rodent. This right here happens to be a rodent found in Africa, where ball pythons basically come from. So it's something that they're more used to eating in the wild, and they do have a slightly different scent than other rodents. So you do have that option to feed your ball python. Sometimes you do find places, I guess, that it's illegal to have ASFs, so you might get away with feeding something like a mouse or something a lot different. Sometimes I even heard gerbils. Personally, I've never fed one to a ball python, so I wouldn't know, but basically something that has a different scent, that's a rodent but just has a whole different kind of scent, would also work. So definitely look at your options, see what you can. If your ball python isn't eating frozen, try live. If it's not eating live, try a different type of rodent and go on from there. And if you have to step in, assist feed. So right now what we're gonna be doing is feeding my ball pythons, and like I said, today I'm feeding live, so I'll show you guys that. Now, like I said, unfortunately, I can't show, ball pythons and snakes eating live rodent, which, that's on YouTube. I completely understand. So if you guys don't want to watch this, do not watch it. I'm definitely not going to be showing any live feeding on YouTube, but I'm going to demonstrate this right here. So you can see this happens to be a hypopide. She does have a little bit of stain. She is going into a shed, so she's gonna be beautiful, even more gorgeous, and she is nice and chunky. Now something like this would actually feed something of this size right here. So I'm gonna place her in here, I'm gonna place a rodent in there, and we'll be back right after, in a few bits. Now again, we got another beautiful ball python here. This happens to be a Enchi leopard yellow belly clown ball python. Just a stunning snake right here. Now this guy right here would take as well something of the same size. So we're gonna place him here, place the rodent there, and we are going to basically allow them to eat. Now again, this female that I was demonstrating earlier, I'm going to be feeding the same size that I've been feeding everyone else. Most people will get confused and say, hey, that thing is too big. I don't get it. Like, how are you feeding something that big? Trust me, your snake would do fine as long as your snake is eating and is digesting it properly. You might want to give them a break. It's definitely not power feeding, because if you were to give this snake a pinky, it's not going to feel full. It's almost like me eating a chicken nugget. It's not enough. So I am going to be placing the rodent now in. Close it up. So this snake is just about getting to that size where it's almost outgrowing this area, but even then it still has a lot of room. This is still a hatchling. As you can see, it did, grow into a nice, beautiful, chunky girl. And I'm gonna be feeding this about a size bigger. I could go about this size, as you can see, it's nice and big. Or I could go a little bit bigger, like that size. So right now, I'm gonna feed it something a little bit smaller. I don't want her to eat something too big. It does look like she still has, enough weight to her, so it doesn't look like she is starving at all. So, either I let her digest or I feed her something a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. That way she has a little bit more food in her. I do feed every other week, sometimes weekly, but because of COVID, I've been feeding every other week. But yeah, something like this would eat something about this size would do perfectly fine. Ooh, little dude, I'm sorry. So hopefully you guys have learned a thing or two when it comes to the proper size to feed your ball pythons. If you guys did, give this video a thumbs up. It does mean the world to me. But, even though I haven't shown you guys any bigger snakes, I might do a different part to it. But it's basically the same general idea. You want to feed something about the size of the body. When it comes to bigger ball pythons, Normally what I feed is about a small, sometimes even a medium, but it really all depends on the snake as well as male or females. Males tend to eat a little bit less than females because they don't grow as big. They also don't produce follicles or eggs. So there's a whole different thing that I want to get into. So I'll do a part 2 to this video today. I was just covering the hatchlings, like this beautiful clown right here. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. If you guys did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I'm Lord of Lion. Keep the blood pumping, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.
You gotta hit that notification, hit that notification, hit that notification button, baby. You gotta hit that notification, hit that notification.